Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Once a Karen, always a Karen. It's unclear whether she's just bored or she just can't act otherwise. Our OP's lucky that he moved into another house because his neighbor was crazy. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Neighborhood Karen's parking issues. Ahead of moving last summer, the city put up no parking signs outside my building to accommodate a moving truck. It's a residential one-way street. On the morning of the move, one car was in the center of the no parking zone, the truck double parked, and we simply hoped that the car owner would move it soon. There were a half dozen other open spots on the street, but none big enough for a moving truck. Midway through packing the truck, the car was still there, and a cop stopped across the street. My partner talked with the cop for a couple of minutes. The cop checked the no parking signs and then walked over to a neighbor's garden and took photos. Karen was on the block for maybe half hour before leaving. Within 5 minutes, Karen shows up in my condo asking who's responsible for her parking ticket. I'm like, I don't know, probably the cop who was asking about the double parked moving truck. Karen's very upset. When did those no parking signs go up? They weren't there last night. I tell her the signs went up a few days prior and assure her the signs were there last night because they're still up right now. Not only does she disagree, she's now blocking movers from going out or coming in. She accuses us of calling the police to ticket her. We're too busy to make that call. She just showed up. Please move out of the way. She steps to the side, but then in the stairwell interrogates a mover about the signs. He's incredulous. All I know is they were here at 8 a.m. Please get out of my way. Karen pesters him the whole way out of the building. Phew, she's gone. When my partner returns from her latest run to the truck, she tells me Karen has torn down the no parking signs and then taken photos. Presumably, this is what she'll use as proof to get out of the ticket. As she finishes telling me this, Karen's back in the condo saying, "There's no signs out there." My generally mild-mannered partner fires back that she saw her tear down the signs. Karen denies it. One of the movers backs my partner. Karen stands in the dining room telling us how unfair this all is. I don't exactly recall what I said, but you've got to effing go, and we don't administer parking tickets, take it up with the city, and a few other things finally got her to leave. However, back on the street level at the truck, she's still at it. You see, now she finally wants to leave in her car, but the truck and other cars are blocking her. We're within 10 to 15 minutes of being done, but she has to leave now. The movers concede, move the truck, and let her out. They park the truck in the spot that it should have been in for the past couple of hours. We wrap up loading the truck a few minutes later. My partner and I are in our new home shortly thereafter. But why am I bringing this up a year later? Because last night we were back on the old block, and shockingly, Karen was at it again. We were just walking by, so I don't know details. All we saw was her arguing with the guy. His scooter was parked up against the yellow line before a fire hydrant, and either she then parallel parked behind it and bumped the scooter, or was complaining that he didn't leave her enough space to pull out. Regardless, we just rolled our eyes and walked by sympathizing with the guy. And our next story. It took years, but I got some revenge. This is an older story that took years to get a bit of payback on. My husband and I had just finished all his training, and he was a fully licensed carpenter, and we just finished building and moving into our house, so he decided to invite some friends from work over for some beer and food. Well, I'd been playing nice host, I made snacks and everything, but as the night went on, one of the guys decided to make a dirty comment to me. The exact words were, "Oh, you're a lucky girl now that your husband's making the big money. You can quit your little job and be a good housewife." I was like, what? My husband was awesome and laughed at him and said, "Yeah, about that. She makes what we make in 4 years in less than 1. She paid for this entire place cash." My husband stood up and said no one has more education and brains than everyone at this table. Though my English is lacking, I am an engineer. The guy tried to laugh and do the whole bullcrap accent equals stupid, but to his credit, my husband threw them right out of the house. Now, this is several years later. I'm in safety construction, and, well, we were doing a walkthrough of a condo the company I was working for had been developing. Guess who was doing some of the finishing work as a contractor? Yep, the a-hole. I made sure to point out everything he'd done wrong. Left a tool out? Yep, pointed out. Eating in a dusty place? Yep, pointed it out. Laces untied or a rip in the safety shoes? Pointed out. The union guys, if they get hit with safety violations, they have to take a 2-week course, 2 hours a day and unpaid. You asserted your power for reasons you've worked hard towards and have deserved. He must have been fuming. And our next story. Someone I've never met claims they own my house. We live in New York City. We were just away on vacation for a week and came back home yesterday. When we returned, among the other junk mail, there was a letter from a law firm for a person whose name I'd never heard before directed to our address. It said something along the lines of, "We've received notice that a foreclosure action has been filed against you. Please call us and we can represent you." It also listed the names of the 2 people involved in the lawsuit, as well as an incident number for the county clerk's office. This letter isn't an official letter, more of trying to drum up business for the law firm. We returned on Sunday, so we're unable to get in touch with the county clerk until this morning. This morning, we called the county clerk's office, and they said there is a lis pendens filed on our property, not a foreclosure. We said, "How can this be possible? We've never missed a mortgage payment and have lived here for 6 years. We had a title search and checked for liens when we purchased the house, and we know the last 3 families to live here over the past 20 years. And it ain't these guys. We've never heard of either of the people involved in this lawsuit." The clerk couldn't really advise us, but gave us the name of the law firm who initiated the action, so we called them. They told us that the person in the letter, who we've never met, spoken to, or had any dealings with whatsoever, is being sued because the law firm's client was in dealings with him to buy foreclosures to flip, but now is out a lot of money due to some nefarious dealings on the part of the first guy. Apparently, this con artist was required by the law firm to provide deeds to any properties he owns, and among others, he provided one for our address. How he got this, I don't know. I assume he made it in Photoshop or something? He claims he owns our house and the one across the street. I have no idea if he actually owns the one across the street or not. We're still listed as the owners of our home in public records, and we have the deed. I cannot stress enough how much we don't know the man claiming to own our house. We've never met, spoken to, or had any dealings with him whatsoever. We had never even heard his name until yesterday. Our house has never been in foreclosure while we've owned it, and for any owners before that. We've had an appointment for a consult with a lawyer on Wednesday, the one who helped us buy our house 6 years ago, coincidentally, but I have no idea what's going on or what this guy hopes to gain, how big of a deal this is, or how complicated this will be to fix. Edit. The chance this guy has a legitimate claim to our house is 0.000000000001%. Only a Sith deals in absolutes, so I don't want to say the chance is nil, but this guy is a known con man being sued for conning somebody else. I looked his name up online, and apparently he keeps creating new real estate companies to fleece people out of money, then escapes into the night. He's done it at least 3 times that I can find, based off dismal reviews of his real estate companies. At this point, we're not personally involved in this lawsuit. Our property is just associated with it. The con man hasn't made any attempts to acquire our property. He's just lying to the law firm suing him, saying he already bought it. Why? I don't know. The only thing I can think of is that he bought no properties with the money his business partner gave him and is now desperately trying to cover his butt with falsified documents. Why did he not think that he would be found out? That's just the way malignant narcissists work, I guess. After the initial letter from the law firm saying they can represent us, we started getting phone calls from other firms saying they'd been alerted to the lis pendens and could also represent us. We were not super happy with this and asked how they got our cell number. They said they subscribe to a service that alerts them when things like liens, foreclosures, etc. are filed on a property. We hung up. We looked at all our documents from the closing and confirmed that we do indeed have homeowners title insurance. Yay. Our deed is a bargain and sale deed, for those wondering. We also pulled all deeds and mortgages and other documentation for our property going back to 1972 online. The last action was when we bought our house. No documents have been filed since. I signed up on Acris to be alerted to any changes made to the property documents. I also emailed the DA for my county, and their Economic Crimes Bureau had emailed me back to ask for my cell number to follow up with me. I gave it to him, but he hasn't called yet. So maybe that'll be in the next and hopefully final update. My husband met with our lawyer this morning, and I asked him to speak about all the things that you all suggested in the last post. Prior to the meeting, our lawyer had reached out to the firm who filed the list pendants and actually got a copy of the court transcript where the con man said he owns our property. According to the transcript, he claims he bought it in 2016. Our lawyer called their law firm and basically said, "Where's the deed?" They supposedly hemmed and hawed about it, so we're starting to think they don't have it and never did. They may just be going off the word of a sleazeball who's like, "Yeah, I totally own that place. I even have a deed for it." No, you can't see it. It's possible that based off this alone, they filed against our property. In addition, it's not like this guy saying he bought our house last week and the paperwork just hasn't been filed yet. He claims he bought it 3 years ago, and there's still no paperwork filed to attest to this fact. I was able to pull up all records for our home going back nearly 50 years in about 15 minutes online. Our lawyer does not like the way the other firm is handling this and basically said to them, "You have no grounds for this. Take it off." The attorney handling this case at that law firm is out of the office today and tomorrow, but will be calling our lawyer back on Friday. I'm hopeful that it'll just be a matter of take the list pendants off and, okay, I'll update again after the call between the lawyers. I told my husband the number one question is, where is the deed? When we initially spoke with them, they clearly said they had it in hand, which is part of the reason I was freaking out. I honestly just want to be done with this. So getting back at the suing law firm for gross negligence, or whatever term fits the issue, is of no interest to me at the moment. If they want to give us a hard time about removing the list pendants, then we'll see. So far, my takeaway from this that I would share with anyone going through something similar is that law firms are made up of people, and just like people can be good and smart and kind, like all of you, they can also be dumb, shifty, and lazy, and not bother to do their due diligence, even though that's like 50% of why they exist in the first place. But I'm not better. In the meantime, we're getting junk mail from law firms and mortgage management companies at least every 2 to 3 days saying they can help us with this issue we don't have. The notices start to be addressed to us personally instead of this other random guy who said he owned our house. This displeases us. I start keeping a little pile of these letters next to the stairs with copies of our mortgage payment notices from the bank, just in case. This goes on for a while, long enough for my initial anxiety to fade into more of a situation, until yesterday. Our lawyer finally got a response to his email where he outlines everything and attached a preponderance of evidence showing we continue to own our house, and their response is, and I quote, "We will remove the action, period. No good afternoon, no sincerely, we will remove the action, period." A shard of an email after weeks of worry. So with a whimper, we got what we wanted. Obviously, we'll continue to monitor everything until they actually do what they said they will, but it's a load off my mind. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.